Okay, this is Unpack in its current state. It's not complete, but the part that's here does work. I am going to show all of the options. So the first run is going to be no options, which means that you will see things printed to the screen that are not being printed to the output file, but the output file is being created. And that's the default. And the program needs 16K to run because decode, or udecode as I'm calling it for this purpose, is a separate file and needs its own 8K block to run. So you'll see that in this version, in this mode, the first two lines that says procedure connect and unpack basic 09 iCode decoder, they do get written to the output file. Everything after that does not get written to the output file until it gets to the end of the procedure, and when you see the line that says end connect, that gets written to the output file. The reason nothing in between gets printed to the output file is because the output file is for the source code. This is not producing source code. This is identifying all potential variables and line references in the procedure. Each one of the dots after the word decoding indicates a complete instruction statement. And you'll see why when I do verbose mode. Now there are two options there. There's -V, which is just turn on verbose mode. It still creates the output file. Then there is -O, which basically means no output file. And it turns on verbose so you can see what the program is doing, but it does not create the output file. And the reason I did it this way is because the few times that I played around with disasm, there was no way that I could just sit there not knowing what it's doing. You know, I was constantly wondering, is it stuck in a loop somewhere? Did it freeze? Yeah. And I hate that because that causes me concern and ends up stressing me. So I decided that any output is better than no output. So I have it with this program so that you can see that it's functioning. Okay? It doesn't matter how big or small the procedure is, you're going to see the same thing. The only thing that will be different is the number of dots after decoding. Okay? But at least you know the program is still running, it's not frozen, it's not stuck in a loop somewhere. And you're seeing what it's doing. And that's the reason I did this. I did consider adding an option for not displaying anything to the screen and just writing the output file. But I thought, you know what, that's a lot of work, and I would just as soon not do that. So this procedure or this program is going to have some output going to the screen in every subroutine that gets run by it. Basically just so you could know that it's not stuck in a loop somewhere, that it's not frozen, it's still functioning. Especially when it takes a while for some of this output. For example, you see how much it's already done. If it wasn't printing all those dots and didn't have anything else on the screen, you would have no idea what it was doing. Now, some of you would probably jump into VCC and use the debugger to view the memory and see that it's still functioning. There's also the line at the bottom where you can see that the number keeps changing under HD0. Okay, so you can tell there that it's still running, but if it was stuck in a loop, it would still be running. It just wouldn't be doing anything. Okay. So that's why I prefer to have something going to the screen so I can see what it's doing. I can tell if there's any problem with it without having to wonder. And I'm talking on this video because it's a little bit lengthy, and this is just the first run. When this run is over, I am going to show you the source code file that was generated and its contents. Then I'm going to delete those contents, and then I'm going to run it again with the -V option so you can see what verbose mode looks like. And then when that's done, I will show you that the source code file got generated and contains the same contents that it contained in the first run. And I'm going to delete it again. And then I'm going to run the program again with the -O option, okay, so that you can see that verbose mode is on. And when it's over, I will show you that the output file, the source code file, is not there. So that is the 3 ways that this program works, and I'm doing it all in this video just to make a little bit longer video, and also to showcase what it's doing. I am actually very happy with the way it's going. It has turned out to be much easier to convert decode to work with Unpack than I thought it was going to be. I still have a lot of work to do with def vars, build source, and instruction, but that will come in time, and I will be keeping the channel posted. And I also may post this video to my YouTube just so people there can see what I'm doing, because I don't post to my channel very often anymore. But I'm trying to post more because I want the people that are following me to see that I am doing stuff. You know, and not that I have a lot of followers. I don't expect to have a lot of followers. But if anyone is watching, I want them to be able to see something different, something that wasn't there before. So you see, it's done with the decoding now, and it's done sorting, it's done numbering. There are 70 line references. The total variable references found is 1,659. The total unique variable references is 325. Total instruction statements is 1,287. So now, this will show you that Connect got created. This will show you what the file contains. Now I'll delete the file. Now this is going to show the verbose mode, so that you can see the difference between what? Oh, I misspelled ribs. Try that again. So you see, instead of printing a bunch of dots, it prints each instruction. And at the beginning of each line is the offset address, not relative to the execution offset, but relative to the start of the module. as that's the way I compared it to the actual dump of the module, so I could see where it was, see if the numbers were right. And I did have a couple of errors there that I had to correct, but correcting them wasn't hard. So this is currently what verbose mode will show. So if you don't see, if you see something that's the same thing as the last one, then you know that that is not part of verbose mode. In this case, because I'm only up to decode at this point, the only thing that is verbose mode is the output that you're seeing here. So when it gets done with the decode, verbose mode is now over until I get into def bars, which comes next. And I haven't started that one yet. But I can tell you this is a rather lengthy file. The final address is 34EA. So we're only up to 0E at the moment, so it'll be a little bit before we get to 3.4. So we're still in the ones. Again, this takes a little while, so this is probably going to be closer to a 20-minute video, I think. It might be less than that, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. Now, some of you may go, well, why did you choose such a large procedure to use for testing? Well, primarily because it allows me to make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to. And with, for example, the error I was getting before is because I changed the total number of variable records from 400 to 300. And it was this procedure that allowed me to remember that some procedures are going to have more than 300 references. So I changed it back to 400. And so far with decode, I never ran into a procedure that complained about not enough variable records. So I think 400 is a good number, at least until I get, until somebody shows me something different. You know, I get a procedure that that has more than 400. So far, though, it hasn't been a problem. But that's why I used Connect, to make sure that I wasn't going to have a problem. And it'll be the same thing with all the other procedures. I got to make sure that all of them work correctly, and that everything is the way it should be. Okay, so we're up to 2.8. Won't be much longer, and it'll be done decoding this procedure. There was a person that came to my YouTube channel that they subscribed, but they indicated that I should consider making my longer videos into shorter videos by breaking them up. I'm not really accustomed to doing that sort of thing. I'm not the greatest at video editing, although I do have Lightworks, and I am trying to figure out how to use it right. But breaking a video up into pieces, I'm not so sure how to do. That's why I don't do it. Now, maybe at some point when I've made enough videos that are long enough to do it, maybe I'll understand how it works, and I'll be able to break them up into smaller pieces. But for the moment, I'm not even going to think about that, because that's not my strong suit. And I appreciate that this guy likes these kinds of videos, and I can appreciate that he doesn't have enough free time to just sit around and watch an hour-long video or a 30-minute long video. But, well, he can do what I always do when I'm watching a very long video. I don't watch it all at once. I watch part of it, then I stop. Then the next time I go to watch more of it, I don't go find it in the recommendeds or something. I go to my history, and I look it up in the history, and then I play it from there, and it resumes where it left off. So, I mean, I don't know what happens if you wait a month. I don't wait that long. I'll watch a little bit each day. On most of those hour-long videos or longer, I will watch anywhere from 20 minutes up to an hour if it's a multi-hour video at a time. Okay. So, alright, so you see. Now you see the difference. Okay, and list the file. Delete the file. And here's dash O, which is still going to be the verbose mode, but when it's done, I will show you that it did not create the output file. So yeah, I'm currently up to almost 20 minutes, so this will probably be a 30-minute video by the time I'm done. And I don't know that Discord will let me actually upload that because of the size, so I'll post it to my YouTube channel and then post the link in the Discord. So if you are noticing the way that the statements are being presented, the idea is that the token is shown that indicates that particular thing, and then if it's a variable or a line reference, there's an integer value. If it's a string, 90 and FF are the quotes around the string, so whatever is in between them is strung together as a series of bytes. That's pretty much it. In a for next loop, the for statement and the next statement have a unique format to them, and it gets laid out that way. So basically the idea is that you get to see the various elements of a statement in a way that makes it more easy to understand what it is. I haven't made a video on exactly how to read the decode, but I have made documents about it. At some point I may actually make a video where I go through the decode and what's involved in it. So the reason that I did not show the variable records here is because this part of the decode is incomplete where the variables are concerned. That's what def vars is about, and in part build source. Between the two of them, they build the rest of the variable records, and then build source builds the dimension statements and outputs them to the source file. And then when it's done, instruction takes over and does another pass through the decode area, this time creating the source statements from the decode and writing those statements to the output file. So when it's done, you've got a complete source code file. But decode had the problem in build source of getting the type statements correct, and it also had the problem of not printing the dimension statements correctly. So I'll be working on trying to fix that as I convert it over to Unpack. So just in case you don't get it yet, the decode program as I wrote it is decode, def vars, build source, and instruction. For the Unpack versions, I am placing a U at the beginning of it, so it is U decode, U def vars, U build source, and U instructions. That way it won't get confused with decode as far as the storage of the files on the disk goes. You can't be running both of them at the same time though, because for example decode has a subroutine that it calls named L sort. It's for line number sort. Well, I suppose I could rename it UL sort and change the place in decode in UDecode that calls it to UL sort, and then you'd be able, and do the same thing with the other procedures, so that then you'd be able to run them both at the same time. But my question is, why would you want to run them both at the same time? They're doing the same thing. The only thing that's different is the output and the fact that decode only handles one module, whereas Unpack will handle merged module files and go through all the modules and can differentiate between modules that are basic 09i code and modules that are not. Decode doesn't have that functionality, so that's why I don't think you'd be wanting to run them both at the same time. But the primary reason for the change of the names is because I'm not deleting decode from my drive. I'm going to leave it there. Curtis may remove it from the EOU distribution disk in favor of Unpack when I finish it and get it written and uploaded to him, and that's fine. But on my system, I'm going to be keeping decode, because when I figure out what's wrong with build source, I intend to make changes to the build source in decode to fix the problems there. Because at some point I want decode to be able to correctly decode a module. And I want Unpack to be able to do the same thing, but handle it on a merged module file scale. Okay, we're almost to the bottom of this. There we go. There, and then now, no output file. So that is the three ways that Unpack works. Okay, no option, output file, no verbose mode. -B option, output file plus verbose mode. -O option, verbose mode and no output file. So I hope this is entertaining. Thank you for watching. If you watched it to the end, thank you very much. And I'll see you in the next video.